And we back, and we back, and we back. It's gonna be a long one. I'm letting you know right now. The biggest Hoyo shill, Mr.Pokke, and I, the biggest Kuro game shill, and also the biggest Genshin Impact shill. Am going to go watch what he says. So here we have the best gacha game of 2024. It's a 38-minute video, but I'm going to be putting this in 1.5 speed, potentially 2, even though Pokke be yapping. The thing is, I think this is a very interesting conversation. The reason why I think this is a very interesting conversation is because I did scroll a little bit into the video, and his criteria is actually, hold on, let me show it right here. He has his main 4 videos, his main 4 games, Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Honkai, Star Rail. Now, he then has a notepad. It's the gameplay, character design, story, music, and game exploration, progression, gacha system, character, VA, welfare, quality of life, and community. They're all going to fail in community, by the way. All the communities are horrendous. That's just an FYI. But I feel like this is a very interesting topic. This is a very fun topic, and there's some parts and some aspects of this where realistically gameplay is going to be up to the person, right? Character design is going to be up to the person. I mean, really all of this is subjective. I think mainly the only things that are genuinely objective would be actually listening to the community, and 3 out of those 4 games do that. So other than that, everything is pretty much kind of up in the air and up for your choosing and what you like. So I think this is going to be a very interesting watch. And I'm kind of excited, man. I'm gonna do a video kind of breaking down just my thoughts on gacha games as a whole. Obviously, you can have your favorite, but I do believe that in the space,
Hey
fans
guys,
as well as people who make content on, I had to open up a Google Chrome because I got an ad blocker there. People who make content on these games tend to stick to the one game, feel super burnt out, and their communities as well kind of just stick to that game. Don't give anything else a try, do too much comparison and contrast, like, well, Wuthering Waves doesn't do this in Genshin or vice versa, and they just don't enjoy them for what they are, or don't rotate. Because if you don't rotate, you will literally have nothing to do. Right now, there's nothing to do in WoWa. There's nothing to do in Star Rail. There's nothing to do in Genshin Impact. There's stuff to do in ZZZ, because ZZZ is brand new. And then Genshin Impact is coming out with an update in 2 weeks. And now, granted, that content's probably going to take at most a week to complete, but in that time, there is still something to do. So it's in cycles. It is in cycles. So I'm very interested to see what he has to say. And yeah, let's just get right into it. See what happens. We are going
Impact video that I made
to.
not too long ago. I really like Genshin Impact.
He did make a video saying he likes Genshin Impact because he's an absolute shill, and it's honestly really disappointing to see that. As a actual Genshin professional, the fact that someone wants to come into the community, enjoy the game, I just can't allow it. I just can't allow it. By the way, so Pokke, but let's continue.
Comparison of Genshin Impact and the other prominent games, gacha games in 2024. This is gonna be a subjective take. This is gonna be a neutral take.
Bro, he really loves Nilou. I don't know why. This is such a bad team. It's okay. It's okay.
Let's get into today's content.
Okay. Subscribe. I gotta make one of those. We're gonna make one of those this week. Go buy my app merch, by the way.
What do you guys think? I want to see what.
Focusing on played Fontaine story quest. Okay, keeping that in mind. That's I think Fontaine is peak. Although he really loved Sumeru. Homie was really crying in Sumeru. So when Nilou pulled out, I would start dancing, but I have no pants on. But don't comment saying to dance because you're just weird without the pants on. But you know when Nilou was busting out her moves, he would start crying. So
what does the chat think? Cujo camp.
Oh my God.
War. Here's how we're gonna go about this comparison. All right, let's go. After a much discussion with my chat, these are gonna be the criteria that we're gonna be talking about. All right, a very neutral comparison of the big 4: Genshin Impact, Honkai Starbucks, Zenless Zone Zero, and Wuthering Waves. It's too loud. So, in this order: gameplay, character design, story/lore, music, endgame, exploration/world, progression, gacha system, power creep, voice actors, welfare, QL dailies, as well as community. This is a bit of a question mark. We'll talk about it later. All right, let's get down to it. First things first, gameplay. I will just give like a score. How do we define gameplay? Because
you can't. Gameplay is 100% up to the user. Some people love Star Rail. I personally, I like Star Rail, but I find the game tremendously boring. And I think that skill-based factor, how do I say this? I don't think the skill ceiling is as high as people make it seem in Star Rail. I really don't, especially if you have characters like Akron. I mean, I guess you could say that about any of these games, though. So I don't know if that's really a fair take, but I know for me personally, I just don't find it as fun. I don't know if maybe it's because it's turn based, what the case may be, but I just feel bored, and like I feel like if I'm bored, the chat's gonna be bored. Now, granted, it's up to the streamer to make the game fun and interesting for chat, which I do. Like, I'm confident I can stream the game, keep my retention, and still keep chat entertained. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is boring. I'd rather do literally anything else right now. Sometimes I'm in the mood for it, but it's very, very rare. So I think gameplay, this is the big up to you. Depends on what you enjoy the most. ZZZ's the hack and slash. Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves are really the only two that you kind of contrast equally. For me, in the gameplay category, I'm going to have to put Wuwa. I think Wuthering Waves has probably the most fun gameplay. And I think right behind Wuthering Waves for me is going to be Genshin Impact. But yeah, okay, let's see what he says.
Fundamentally, it is, you can't really take it as a comparison, especially between these games,
Yeah.
where there are so many differences fundamentally. Like Honkai Starbucks, it is a turn-based RPG. Zenless Zone Zero is like a sort of like a hack and slash. I guess the closest, if you want to compare, is like Genshin and Wuwa. They are both quote-unquote open world exploration games with pretty much quite similar but different combat system, right? So I think it's kind of impossible to give everybody a score based on a single criteria, because gameplay is just fundamentally different for all these games, and it will ultimately depend on what you enjoy as a player, right? If you enjoy turn-based games, like if you like Pokemon, you're not gonna play like Super Mario, right? If you like Elden Ring, you might not play Animal Crossing, right? It's not much similar to this. So that being said, I will just give my personal subjective opinion. Okay. I'll just rank it. I'll just rank it. Yeah, I think ranking is easier. Subjective personal opinion. I think right now for me, I like Honkai Starbucks.
Hoya show. Definitely, they paid him off. Dude got into the whatever. They paid him off.
Honkai Starbucks for now. It's still.
Are we ranking it like each one? That okay? Let's see.
Too loud. For now, Honkai Starbucks is gonna be rank 1 for me. I do like the turn base. I do like the the fun button, and I like a little bit more, I guess, less action intensive games, because I'm an old man. And if I really wanted to lock in and fully lock in, like oh my god,
dude literally played League of Legends for 16 hours today. I don't know who he's lying to, and who he thinks he's lying to, but he's lying to himself if he believes that. Homie legitimately played League for like 16, 17 hours. I logged into my Twitch, and there was like a motivational speech in the background talking about you could overcome anything you need to overcome. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Homie needs to stop lying. No, but Honkai Star Rail is a good game, though. It is a good game.
UTE, all that kind of stuff.
But he's lying.
I'll play a locked in game, right? I like the chill. You can take a time. You can just go have a dinner, come back, chill, play with like one finger or even the fun button. But there's still depth when it comes to the team building, speed tuning, what team do you want to use, memory of chaos. And Honkai Starbucks does have quite a bit of endgame content, right? And we're gonna talk about it in the endgame content session. But for me right now, personally, Honkai Starbucks is gonna be Halo Shooters. I do like turn-based combat anyways, right? I played Pokemon since young. I play games like Epic 7. I play games like Artery Gear. Not really exactly turn-based, but you kind of say turn-based. Battle Cats, if you want to call it turn-based, kind of. You deploy the cats and you kind of go. So I do like this turn-based stuff, this strategy, right? So that's gonna be that for me. Honkai Starbucks rank 1. Rank 2. I like Zenless. I like Zenless game.
Okay, that's how we're doing it. Okay, so I'm going Wuthering Waves. I think Wuthering Waves overall has the most engaging, fun, unique combat. And it feels like you're legitimately inside of an anime. I mean, like, that game genuinely feels like I am in an episode of Naruto, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, whatever you want to call it. So I think it's fire. I think after that, I'm going Genshin Impact. There is something about Genshin Impact's elemental reaction system, and actually, like, people are going to say the game isn't smooth, and in certain points it's not, but I also do feel like it is the most polished out of all of these games, and I feel a level of satisfaction when I'm clearing the abyss, whether it's with a bad account, good account. It is just overall fun, and there's also a wide variety of characters. Now, granted, obviously the game has been out for this is going to be the 4th year. You know what I mean? So, but I think Genshin Impact is going to be my number 2 just because of how there is depth to it. Now, you don't need that depth. The game is brain dead easy, but there is still depth to it. I think my 3rd is going to be I'm gonna put Star Rail. I'm gonna put Star Rail as my 3rd, and I'm gonna put 4th as ZZZ. I think Star Rail can be fun. And there can be challenge to it. Like if you're trying to one cycle, right? I feel like if you can make your own fun, just like how I make my own fun in Genshin, in Star Rail, when I get bored, I can go on a really nice viewer account and try to make my own fun and figure things out. And also, realistically, I don't 100% understand everything about Star Rail yet, so I think that adds to the fun factor for me, for the fact that I don't know what all the paths do. I know that if you put this character next to this character, there's going to be aggro, but then if you don't want them to be aggro, you got to do something else. Like, there's elements to it that I don't understand yet, and I really haven't sat down to learn. But I do think that it is fun. I think ZZZ is only going to be in dead last just because There's certain things about the combat that I don't like. Like, I do think it is fun, but it is a literally clicking simulator, and I don't like the fact that, like, as of right now, when you parry, it swaps you to a different character. There's no aerial combat. I mean, there's a few things that I feel like, okay, this is a solid base, and I think as time goes on, this could definitely rank higher. I don't know if it'll ever take over Genshin Impact or Wuthering Waves for me, but I could definitely see it taking over Star Rail in a decent amount of time. But that's probably where I would go. Wuthering Waves feels like an anime. Genshin feels honestly the most smooth, polished, refined. Star Rail can be challenging, and it's a different type of game for me where, like, I don't normally play turn. This is actually the first turn-based game that I put more than like 20 minutes into before. They called me like a dumbass or something. I was born in 98. I don't know if I'm a Zoomer or whatever, but and ZZZ is just last because I also think it's just new, like it's brand new. I think they're still working out a lot of the kinks. So yeah, okay. I'm curious to see where he goes here.
I was thinking between Zenless and Wuthering Waves, and at this point I can just kind of give it's gonna be this and this. For the overall gameplay, it's very very close by the way. Zenless and Wuthering Waves, I think they're both very very close. They share similar mechanics, the swapping, the parries, the skills. What differs is Zenless, they have a shared ultimate, whereas Wuthering, they have individual ultimates. Zenless has the day system, whereas Wuthering have the the vibration system. I think they're both very very similar. But I guess the fundamental reason why I'll put Zenless just a little bit above Wuthering Waves, it feels cleaner to me. The animations,
really?
the oomph,
that's true.
Oomph of the parries, the dodges, the QTEs, the effects.
The reality of the situation is Wuthering Waves has a lot of bugs. It is really not the most optimized video game. There's tons of crazy things that are going on. The camera angles are bad. You go into Memphis, the ping actually really does affect the game. You could be on 20 ping and dodge, and it'll count as a dodge, and they'll still kill you, or it won't count as a dodge. Like, it is buggy, and Zenless Zone Zero definitely feels more polished. But I still think even with those bugs, I personally prefer Wuthering Waves. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It feels a bit.
But I get that. That's valid. That's valid.
Pretty much the main factor that I would say is the main reason why
for sure.
Just a little bit above. I'm not talking about like gameplay difficulty or like how difficult.
Just the enjoyment of it. The enjoyment.
I don't think it is even a important metric to even discuss. I don't think a game is good or not good based on how difficult a game is. Because if by that definition, then chained together with 4 people would be the best game in the world on hell mode, right? I think difficulty is completely irrelevant as to how good a game can be. But that being said, if
I don't know about that. I think maybe difficulty might tie into endgame, so I get what he's saying. But I do believe that difficulty, maybe if it doesn't affect the exact specific portion or that specific moment of gameplay in your judgment, I think it really affects the replayability. And if the game is not difficult and doesn't really have anything to come bringing you back, then I think the replayability goes down quite a bit. That's why I put Wuthering Waves and Genshin Impact over the other two. I know people are going to say Genshin Impact isn't as difficult. I like to do a lot of challenges in Genshin Impact, and I like to take over a lot of weird accounts, and so I find those difficult to do. So I also, again, I make my own difficulty in those type of games. So I don't necessarily agree with that take. I do think difficulty ties more into endgame. But I do believe difficulty is a factor to gameplay. Not 100% a piece of the pie, maybe like 15, 20, for me at least. Like, there is a level of difficulty. If I could just steamroll through everything in a game, I don't find it fun. That's why I've refused to play my ZZZ account. I think grinding to Internet level 30, the Shiyu defense to unlock the artifacts is the most brain dead stuff that I can't be next. I can't be bothered. I don't find it fun. I think it's annoying. So yeah, I think gameplay is a big
more
factor.
Difficult game where you are given less rooms for improvement. Less rooms for mistakes. You get one shot. Wuthering Waves is gonna be the one to go, right? Wuthering Waves definitely way more difficult, especially for the hologram. I'm talking about the absolute hardest difficulty as you have right now. Zenless Zone Zero difficulty, you don't get one shot, but you have the health sponge, right? The enemy is a lot tankier, and you need to be wary of not exactly like you don't care about the damage, because if you towards the later stages you still do get a shit ton of damage taken, right? So but yeah, in Wuthering you're legitimately getting one shot by the
These difficulties really not that hard, but we'll talk about that in the game
refresh
portion.
That would be a different topic, right? So yeah, that's gonna be my take on Zenless Wuthering, and why Genshin is ranked last for me in gameplay is frankly because like I mentioned in my previous video,
there's not enough time with
criteria where I play Genshin Impact, it's not really exactly for the gameplay. It is mainly for the story, the lore, the character, the music, and everything along the lines, right? That is the reason why I play Genshin. And I'm gonna tell you about, I suck at Genshin. I have not been getting good at Genshin. I don't even read what characters do. I don't know what the fuck is the talent of the ultimate.
I do think that Genshin sometimes can be overwhelming. I think it actually might be I think Star Rail is probably the most overwhelming in my opinion, but I do think Genshin Impact system can be overwhelming for a newer player. I mean, look, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't understand all aspects of Hyperbloom. I mean, not Hyperbloom, of Dendro. Like, I don't. I know Hyperbloom. I don't know the difference between Quicken and Aggravate. You know, things like that. Like, because to me, it doesn't matter. But I do think Genshin Impact can be a hard game to learn if you're trying to actually sit down and learn it. How to figure out how much elemental mastery you need. What do these stats do? What goes with what? Who should you be vaping with? Who should not be vaping with? Forward vape, back, whatever, whatever I'm saying. So like it's all those things I think can be difficult and definitely is not beginner friendly. So I get that. I think that's a very valid tame take.
So I just plain out stuck at Genshin. So because the combat is just the gameplay is just not main focus, right? So
okay,
I'll be leaving Genshin Impact last, right? But as I that for the gameplay, character design, I would say if it's based
let's see.
on like how they look alone, I will give it to Honkai. I vibe with Honkai. I like how a lot of their designs, they are a lot more mature compared to.
I agree. I think if you're going character design, I think you go HSR. I think you go Genshin. I think you go Wuthering Waves, and I think you go Zenless Zone Zero. Honkai Star Rail has a more mature feeling to the game just as a whole out of all of these games. Well, I don't want to say Wuthering Waves, actually. I think maybe Wuthering Waves has probably a more mature feeling. But Honkai Star Rail models don't feel like the same body type over and over and over again, reused with pretty similar facial features. Maybe they exactly are, but I feel like there is enough distinct features and distinct looks in Honkai Star Rail that I'm like, okay, like this looks cool. I don't feel like I'm looking at the same character over and over and over again as the same way what I do in Genshin Impact. I think sometimes Genshin Impact has really great designs, and other times they miss the mark. I'm looking at you, Emily. I think Emily is whack. I don't think Emily looks good, so I think Honkai Star Rail is valid. The mature aspect is for sure a W. Wuthering Waves, I like. I don't know what it is about the Wuthering Waves models, though. I don't know if maybe they're just not as tanky. Like, if I pull up Wuthering Waves Rover, and then we put an image of the rover next to the traveler, like, the female rover, even the male rover, still looks good, right? But Genshin Impact Traveler, there's something about these models that I prefer Genshin's models over them. I don't know what it is. I can't sit here and tell you what about it. I don't know. I don't know if it's because it's more cartoonish, or maybe their models feel more dense. I don't know, but I can tell you that I do think Genshin Impact models definitely look more complete in a weird way. Like, this looks like a full complete character in Wuwa. I don't know. I'm doing a very bad job explaining myself, and I apologize. Obviously, like Yinlin's go to the Swallows, like they have good models, but I do believe that I think maybe it's also a graphics thing. I think it is a graphics thing where I believe that the graphics in Genshin I do think are better than Wuthering Waves. It just feels like a softer, more fleshed out environment with characters as well. So I get that. ZZZ's character designs, I think, or whatever. I think, like, what's her face? The girl with the glizzy, she got a big booty, but other than that, I kind of don't really care. I also feel like I can't distinguish who's a 5-star and who's a 4-star. I would not be able to tell you at first glance Ellen Jo is a 5-star. I think that while they are distinct, there is nothing about them anything that screams out, hey, I am unique, including the new set of characters as well. Like the new girl with the pole arm that we just reacted to looks super adorable. I couldn't tell you, I didn't know what she was. I actually thought the dude with the shield looked like a 5-star, and I was surprised to find out he was a 4-star. I was like, okay. Okay, I guess. So that's how I feel about that. And again, I think that this is a pretty good conversation, however, because at the end of the day, this is all going to be subjective. Although my opinion is going to be 100% correct. So, okay, he has Honkai Star on the front. Let's see what he has next.
For example, Genshin Impact. I think Genshin Impact, a lot of the characters are a little bit too young for me. I don't know why. There's very little, like, older people, right? A lot of the characters in Genshin are a little bit too
well, that's ZZZ, though. I will say that. That's the thing. ZZZ kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. I'm going to keep it a buck. ZZZ models make me uncomfortable as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not into the whole sexualizing these ZZZ characters. God bless. Do whatever you want to do, but not for me. I can't. So yeah, that's on. Not for me.
Also kind of say the same for Zenless. Honkai style design, I think, based on how he looks, could be very fun. But one thing that made me very difficult to give it to Honkai is the animations, the expressions from Zenless. I think Zenless animation and expressions, they are the best, and it is not even close. The way I really like how they make them like super like bouncy cartoon. Have you guys seen Jane Doe? It's like it's super like well animated. For every single story cutscene, the trailers, the teasers, the like beyond just the splash art and everything, right? I think Zenless clears easily for any of the other three games. And by that, I will have to give it to Zenless. I'll have to give it to Zenless. So that's gonna be my take, right? Honkai Star Wars, the designs are great, but like you don't really see them a lot, except for.
Okay, I feel like introducing cutscenes to the game is a little bit different because genuinely Zenless Zone Zero is leagues and leagues and leagues ahead cutscenes wise. They have the best cutscenes out of all of these games, period. And then maybe Wuthering Waves, I think, might be second. But no, I think if you're including that, then I think yes. Because like the cutscenes, like he said, they feel real, they feel animated, they feel like they're not just a random person in the game. And I don't know, the budget for those are absolutely top notch. And in Star Rail, again, if you're talking about story, Star Rail, Genshin, suffer from the fate of just having the people stand there and talk and nothing changes and the facial expressions are the same. And then after that, every 3.5 hours in a main quest, there'll be a cutscene that looks dope and then they go back to normal. So I think if you're talking about that from a story perspective and presenting the story, yes, but I don't think that's character design. So I can't, if you wanted to put that in the story section, actually, I wouldn't even put that in the story section, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think maybe you have to make a different category for that. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't believe that goes under character design personally. Because you could have a really badly designed character, but if they do a great job animating the cutscene and showing the facial expressions and everything, then I think that, it's still a good cutscene, right? So, yeah.
These like rare occasions where there's like the story cutscenes.
Design and
in
animation,
combat,
characters.
you're not really getting
Yeah, okay.
right? They basically stand there, you have to cut the skill, and that's pretty much it. But the key thing that kind of seals do is that they're not as expressive, they're not as bouncy. I just really like the Zenless Zone Zero bounce. And I'm not talking about Jane Doe's ass cheeks. I'm just talking about the design they put to each character, how expressive they make them feel, the liveliness, the emotions. It feels a lot more, it is conveyed better to me in Zenless, right? So I'm just gonna chug it up as it. Last for me, no particular reason. I would say they are both Genshin and Wuthering. They are not in the same leagues as Honkai, Starbucks, and Zenless. And I wanted to combine both. Okay, design plus animation. I wanted to combine both design plus animation because they're fundamentally talking about the character itself.
Okay. Now when you combine the two, we have to fix it. I think it is Zenless Zone Zero. Then I do believe it would probably go Wuthering Waves. It would go Honkai Star Rail, and then I think you would go Genshin Impact. Because again, at the end of the day, these two are interchangeable. Although Honkai Star Rail does a better job with the animations in terms of cutscene wise, and also the alt animations. Because at the end of the day, they don't need to develop a full kit in the sense that they have to do with Genshin, so they could put more money into what the animations look like. So if that's the case, then yes, he's 100% right. Because the ZZZ, the way they tell the story, not including the story itself, but the way it's presented is top notch without a doubt. So I'll give him that. I'll give him that for sure.
And they're both kind of close. Like Genshin and Wuthering, I feel like they're both kind of close. They are both not very expressive. I feel like for at least from what I've seen, a lot of their expressions, they're kind of dead. Especially when I'm playing the ENVA. They legit just like, that's it. I feel that.
Well, no, I think Wuthering Waves has done a good job of that. Like in the most recent, if in the most recent, God, I'm losing my train of thought. In the most recent quest with Jui, I think the expressions were pretty different, and it wasn't just them kind of standing the rover. Maybe I have really low standards because of Star Rail and Wuthering Waves, but I feel like at least cutscene wise, the characters were moving a lot more. They had different animations, and even in like the most recent Jeja, I don't know how to pronounce her name. That animated short was top tier. It felt like an actual anime. The way they animated everything and the character itself. So I don't know. I think putting Wuthering Waves dead last. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's okay. He's alright to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
Because of the theme that goes into each region, right? I think it's a little bit more prominent in Genshin. So like if you go into Inazuma units, or you go to Liyue units, or you go into like you can distinctively tell the design for these characters are tailored to the region. Whereas in my opinion, Wuthering Waves so far, they all just kind of like Liyue people. They all look like they're from space China. Like Jingxi, Yingling.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of going all over the place a little bit. I feel like yeah. I don't know. I think these two should be completely separate. I think animation wise, again, the ZZZ, WWW, HSR, Genshin Impact, but I think just character design themselves the other way around. And I'm not going to change the list again. I think we're just going to kind of keep it going here.
They all look kind of like,
Definitely
like
think
you couldn't really tell me like a difference.
But he's not wrong. He's not wrong. The region in Wuthering Waves doesn't feel special. I will 1000% say that. Hopefully in 2.0, they could do something to depict it and make it look different. If they do, and if they're stealing from cultures, please make the people look like they're from that culture. Sidebar, wink, 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 please. But I do hope they can do something distinctive about that for sure.
In regions that
We're going to go on to story.
Starbucks is the second. And for me personally,
Oh, he's got Genshin first?
Story and lore. I haven't played Fontaine, and this is already here. So I don't think there's too much to expand. Honkai Starbucks is the second. And for me personally, I think Penacony was really where the star of Honkai Starbucks. Like Penacony, it just superseded everything else. Xianzhou, Jarulo 6 Space Station, it was not really that close compared to the Penapeak, right? Picani.
I think for me, I think you'd have to put Genshin Impact first just because of the fact that it's been around the longest, it has the most story to it. So like it's hard to ZZZ and Wuthering Waves are going to be last regardless, because they don't have enough story, enough stuff packed in there. So you will have to do Genshin Impact. I think I'd do Honkai Star Rail. I think I would do Wuthering Waves just because of the last 3 chapters. I will do ZZZ. I really am not a big fan of ZZZ storytelling. Excuse me. I'm a fan of their storytelling. I'm not a fan of the story. I think it's whatever. I'm not really the biggest fan. My problem though with the Hoyoverse story though is that yes, they're better now, but I do believe that Wuthering Waves has the potential to overcome that and overcome the way they tell the stories because they're not doing it in the same play-by-numbers the way Hoyoverse does it. Also, I'm going to say something that a lot of people will not agree with. Penacony was peak, but Penacony fell off a really hard cliff with Act 3. Act 1 was very good. Very, very, very good. Had a great cliffhanger. Set up Act 2 for just a great time. A little bit of filler. Could have cut about 45 minutes, right? But it's okay. Act 2 was perfect. 4.1 or 2.1 with Aventurine, I think is one of the best written story quests I've just ever played, period. I really do. I think that whole act was genuinely perfect. Mwah. Cinema. And then they set you up, obviously spoilers, right? They set you up for a bunch of different, I'm not going to go too crazy into it, but they set you up for a bunch of different cliffhangers, multiple cliffhangers. Act 3, they kill off any suspense of those cliffhangers in the first 40 minutes. It's 7 hours long. It's absolutely stupid. The Sunday was a heel at first. He had a babyface turn, then he turned back to a heel. And Gallagher was a babyface, but then he became a heel, but then he went back to babyface, and he goes away. And then after that, this whole philosophical thing from Sunday, I actually kind of enjoyed that part a little bit, and I enjoyed his backstory and seeing why he was the way he was. And I enjoyed the backstory parts with Raiden, but other than that, I feel like there was just too much going on, and there were no stakes at hand. And then the very last story quest with the Sparkle thing, I feel like low-key was a spit in everyone's face. I think they wasted so many people's potential. I think they wasted Boothel. I think they wasted Sparkle. I think they wasted Sunday. I think they wasted a lot of people and a lot of really good cliffhangers. So while Penacony was peak, and Penacony and Star Rail is going to be the second one, the only reason I'm saying it's a second is because I don't think Wuthering Waves and ZZZ has enough story to it yet. Now, Wuthering Waves story, chapter 1 through 4 is pretty bad. It's just really not that good. Chapter 5 gets good. Chapter 6 is god tier, insane. Gamers, this changes everything. And then chapter 7 is also god tier, and it's really good. Now, if you were talking about presentation and storytelling, and that was its own thing, ZZZ would be number 1. ZZZ has the the comic books, the Danganronpa style stuff, the actual cutscenes. Like, they are very unique with it, and they do try to keep the way they tell the story fresh. So I think that is how I would rank these for sure. And then again with time, I think Wuthering Waves and ZZZ could. But I don't know about ZZZ, but I think Wuthering Waves could take over Star. We'll see. I don't know if it'll take over Genshin Impact, maybe. But like the way they do the storytelling in these two games, I think is just very annoying. There's nothing at stake. There's never nothing at stake. If it is at stake, you fix it at the last second and nothing bad happens. And so it's kind of just like annoying, in my opinion. But let's keep it pushing.
And I haven't even reached Fontaine, which
Fontaine is great.
My words back if Fontaine turns out to be worse than Sumeru. If Fontaine is a region that's worse than Sumeru, I'll stop it. I'll make it like this, right? But I haven't played Fontaine yet, so take this with a grain of salt. Right? Take this with a grain of salt.
Fontaine is peak. Fontaine is actual peak. That is the best part of Genshin Impact. I'm letting you know right now.
I think it's gonna be like this for me. Zenless Zone Zero story and lore. It is not meant. I don't think Zenless Zone Zero is meant to be like a lore-intensive game.
Nope.
It is meant to be like a goofy R happy-go-lucky, very chill story. Like, and they're not afraid to express it, right? They're not afraid to show that they're not serious. There's like goofy ass scenes in the story. It's quite literally the definition of it ain't that deep, little bro, right?
Ain't that deep, little bro.
And I think it's completely fine. Wuthering definitely has lore. There's a deep lore, the Jingxi, what is Jue, Scar, Familia. Like, it is definitely way deeper than Zenless. So that's pretty much it. You don't say that Zenless is shit, but I think they're just embracing this. So I'll just rate it as it is, right? Okay, cool. Unless we see more, that's gonna be the rating as of now, right? Also take into consideration that pinch of salt, because these different games have different timelines, right? Wuthering Waves have only been out for like what, a couple of
music. I think is pretty simple. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Genshin Impact genuinely has the best music of most video games I've ever played. I think it's Genshin Impact. I think it's Honkai Star Rail. I think it's Wuthering Waves, but Honkai Star Rail and Wuthering Waves I think are a lot closer than people think. I think with time, more time that passes, the Wuthering Waves music will get even more as we get a more plethora of it. And then it could potentially overcome Star Rail and then ZZZ. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna lie to you. The music is hard because again, the fact that like ZZZ's music is actually really good. I think ZZZ's music would be 2. I think Wu would be 3, and I think nah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Wuthering Waves takes the L on this. Genshin Impact, I think, just genuinely has the best music. It has the most regions. I can listen to the Genshin Impact soundtrack 24/7. There's just certain songs on there that absolutely get me going. I get bricked up. ZZZ. Excuse me. Zenless Zone Zero, I think, has possibly the best starting music of a gacha game of all time. The 1.0 music is absolutely banger after banger after banger after banger. There's no bad track in there. So I think this is very good. Honkai Star Rail has very good music as well. I mean, you know, but like that's a certified hood classic. But I don't think that is going to make it over ZZZ. I guess maybe you could swap them. I'm kind of indifferent on those two. I think you can put whatever you want. But I think Wuthering Waves has great music. But I do think it is last, truthfully. A lot of the songs that, like, when you were fighting holograms, it probably is the same track over and over again. But then when they do play music that stands out, that it's not that basic riff, it's very good. It is very, very good. So this is up in the air, man. Genshin Impact's the best. These two are interchangeable. Wuthering Waves is last. Let's see what he says.
Something like this. I don't know why. I just really don't vibe with Wuthering Waves music. I just don't.
Yeah, because you're a Hoyo show, bro. That's what it is. No, I get that though. I think a lot of people glaze Wuthering Waves' music, and it is good. But how many times am I going to hear the same like, you know, those are the tracks that I don't enjoy as much. Sometimes they're really good, but I enjoy, again, the more unique tracks. So I get that, and I don't fully disagree. I understand.
It's the exact same battle team.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel cooked enough.
It doesn't feel unique enough.
Not too much expand here, genuinely. Because
Alright, Endgame.
Endgame's
going to be interesting. This is probably going to be the longest segment.
I'm talking about Endgame, like Pyro Abyss, Memory of Chaos / Apocalyptic Shadow / Pure Fiction, Power of Adversity, Shield Defense / Flow Zero. As of now, I think it's just gonna...
I think you have to put Star Rail as number 1. What does he do?
This?
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you're going Endgame, I think Honkai Star Rail does an amazing job with their Endgame. I think you go Wuthering Waves. I think you go Zenless Zone Zero. And then I think you can literally throw any other game here. Put another game. And then you can go Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact's endgame is literally non-existent. I have to make my own endgame content by doing account recoveries and take over accounts over and over and over and over and over again. The Imaginarium Theater is trash. It's just not it is not a good system. They tried out a roguelike. They failed miserably. It's not good. It's a fundamentally flawed system. Honkai Star Rail, and again, this is something that I'm developing a video on. I'm trying to see right now, actually. My boy sent me a list because I was like, am I missing anything? There's Memory of Chaos, there's Pure Fiction, there's Apocalyptic Shadow, there's Simulated Universe Swarm Disaster, Simulated Universe Golden Gears, and Divergent Universe. There is tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff to do in that game. So yeah, Wuthering Waves has the hologram fights, although I do believe that they need to do something different with the holograms because the one reward is kind of silly. I think you could reset the last 2 levels or something every patch. Like, who cares about giving away a free Echo? You already get the Echo for free for fighting just in the open world. So I think that's pretty stupid, but they have that. Their Simulated Universe mode is the most fun roguelike I've done in any gacha, or honestly, any roguelike ever. I've also haven't played a million roguelikes, but I love that game mode so much. Zenless Zone Zero is honestly pretty solid. There's Shiyu defense, their roguelike mode. I think there's a mode that has 100 levels in it too. Like, there's really more to do in Zenless Zone Zero than there is in Genshin Impact. You could put in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, a PS2 game here. Resident Evil 4. There's more replayability in a million games than there is in Genshin Impact, unfortunately, when it comes to endgame. So, Genshin Impact's endgame is absolutely lacking the most. Without a doubt.
This and
yeah.
By the way, the spacing means nothing, right? It's a random spacing. It's a random spacing.
No, it means something on mine. It means something on mine. My spacing means that Genshin Impact needs to step it the fuck up.
Right. Honkai Starbucks, objectively speaking, and this is not subjective, this is objectively speaking, they have the highest amount of endgame modes that tailors to different teams, encourages you to use different team buildings.
They have it where that each path gets their. I don't want to say each path gets their own endgame mode, but each mode you're using different units, and it makes it so that way it's not the same old Acheron team. Now, you could look at it as a perspective that's annoying and frustrating, because that means you have to pull different people from different paths, and it's never going to be a consistent team. But I do believe that it adds a sprinkle of variety in there. So, yeah, Honkai Star Rail just has it. They take the W on that.
For the most part, right?
Without
different buffs. People have different buffs. Probably Shadow just released different buffs, all that kind of stuff. And I really, really like the way they're going about it. So imagine if they make another endgame more. So I think Honkai Star Rail's endgame is definitely going to be up there. Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero. I think at this point they are very similar in a sense where it's basically Shield defense versus Hour of Adversity. I'm not going to compare Hologram because it's a one-time clear, and Holo Zero is kind of also like a one-time clear. It's a similar universe, right? You can't really compare it. So I'll just compare Tower of Adversity and Shield defense. Now, unfortunately, in Wuthering Waves, hologram fights, they are not a refreshable content. So the moment you're done,
it's still in game though.
If hologram, they make it into a permanent game mode. Yeah, if hologram was refreshable, I think it will be excellent endgame content. But unfortunately, it's not. So it is what it is. I feel like they are both very similar, and it will really depend which gameplay you like more. If you like the gameplay loop of Wuthering Waves combat, you're gonna like Wuthering Waves more. If you like Zenless Zone Zero, you're gonna like that. So I think this is extremely close.
I get that. I just do believe that you can count the holograms as endgame content, because at the end of the day, you cannot clear level 6 unless you are at the endgame. So you know what I mean? I feel as if that he's not wrong in the sense it does boil down to the preference, but realistically, Wuthering Waves does have more endgame, and I still consider the roguelike mode endgame, even though it is timed. I do believe that is still an endgame mode. So I wish it wasn't timed, but I still think it's endgame.
Because Tower of Adversity and Shield defense, they're both kind of like towards the end, Hell's Punch. Towards the end, alright? You just need to do enough damage and you can get it over and done with. The survival issues, not doing enough damage, Kara cleansing, all that, most of it is gonna be derived from the fact that you're under-leveled and under-invested. By the time you reach like max level 60, max level, it gets considerably more manageable, where to that point, you're kind of just relying on muscle memory and just be a stage, right? So I'll leave that as this. Genshin Impact's endgame, it is. Oh, the reason why I left it all the way towards the end is because, first of all, I never played Imaginary Theater or whatever it is. So I can't judge it. But aside from Imaginary Theater, Genshin Impact has not had an endgame update for almost 4 years, up until recently. Whereas these games, they're out for like 1 year-ish, less than 1 year. And if, as a player such as myself, that picked up Genshin Impact 5 months ago, and I'm already at floor 12, I couldn't beat floor 12, I beat floor 11. It took me 5 months to get here, for a game that's almost 4 years old, that is a little bit, maybe a little bit more can be done here, right? So that is crazy. I have no comments on Imaginarium Theater, so I'm not gonna comment it, right? So
I can tell you it's bad. It's just not good. Don't play it. It's whack. It's whack. Not good.
Hey, exploration/world.
I think Honkai Star Rail and ZZZ have to end last. I think if you're gonna go exploration world, I think you go Genshin Impact. I think you go Wuthering Waves. I think you go Honkai Star Rail, and I think you go Zenless Zone Zero. I think you have to put Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero in the end personally, because at the end of the day, whether you enjoy the open world aspect of it or not, the exploration is just genuinely better. There really is no exploration in Honkai Star Rail. You can run around and find the little chest or the little shits in the trash cans or whatever it is, like those little things you pull out. But other than that, there's really nothing deep to it. Genshin Impact has exploration down to a T. The exploration is genuinely fun, and I really do enjoy it. There was something about Fontaine's exploration that actually made me want to start exploring in the game, because I've never done it before. I will say, though, gameplay of exploration, Wuthering Waves is better. Wuthering Waves has better movement. It has wall climbing. It doesn't give you stamina when you're running. It has the Spider-Man to normally. And so I think this can go either way. So I'm actually going to put it here, because at the end of the day, if you're talking gameplay-wise, Wuthering Waves has a leg up, but the Wuthering Waves map is smaller. I don't think there's many mechanics as Genshin, obviously, because the game just came out, but the exploration is still pretty solid. So from a simply map perspective and exploration, I think fun factor to the puzzles, I think Genshin has it on lock. From a physical gameplay and enjoyment of the exploration, I think Wuthering Waves has that for sure.
How do I even rank Zenless? Because it's not even an open world, right? It's
Yeah.
not an open world. Round 1 is gonna be Wawa. Okay. Grappling hooks, running up the wall, parkour,
Yeah,
no stamina,
yeah.
fly around
Makes
the place.
sense.
You can use a motorcycle, you can use a but
I will say though, the world doesn't feel special. There is nothing in the world that screams, "Oh my god, I really like this area." I think there might be two places. There might be two places in the game that I'm like, "Wow, okay, this is really cool." The one where it's like that tree area where you fight the monkey, and that's really it, actually. I think it's that, and then maybe the Inferno Rider spot, because like it has like the buildings and like the kind of like the parkway in the sky. But other than that, I think it's pretty mid. I think the actual exploration, the actual world itself is very dull and not very entertaining or interesting. So I think that's another factor why I would probably give the leg up to Genshin Impact.
I think
Although Natlin looks absolutely whack. I'm just gonna be honest with
it's
you.
gonna be something like this. Because Honkai Starbucks is not really like an open world
Yep.
exploration. Like the moment you're done with the story quest, you probably never go back ever again. Unless you just want to like kill mobs, which like, you know, very, very few people do it. Zenless is
Go back
basically
to
just
kill
not
them just for the materials.
I mean, Zenless is not a game that's priding themselves in the open world anyways. So it is what it is. And Honkai Starbucks is gonna be dead.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Not a lot to talk about, honestly, because these two, they're not even open world games, right? So it's basically just Wuthering Genshin. And
Makes
Wuthering
sense.
just shits on Genshin when it comes to the open world exploration. Neutrally speaking, right?
Neutrally, horror show, yep.
You know what?
Horror show.
Okay. All right, progression.
That's kind of crazy.
Yo.
Progression. This is hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. I am not well versed enough in Zenless Zone Zero to speak about the progression. So for me, I'm gonna take ZZZ out of the category. Well, I will say I don't know about the artifacts. I don't know about a lot of those things. I do know you can make your own domains for the characters in ZZZ. But if I had to go progression, man, the thing is, I want to put Wuthering Waves, but I also want to put Genshin Impact, because with Wuthering Waves, there's nothing locked via days like Genshin Impact. But a key part of progression is the ecosystem. The ecosystem, I already dropped a video on it. I'm actually going to be dropping another video recently. Is genuinely horrendous. There is no way to get around it. The ecosystem is not good. The act of obtaining the echoes is easy, and it's light work, and it doesn't require resin, which is amazing. And in my mind, I said, wow, I could obtain pretty much unlimited echoes for the remainder of the world without using resin. The reason why they do that is because they roll into actual dog shit. My Spectro Echo rolls with glacier damage. And then when I have a million echoes, I can't fodder them into other echoes. I then have to put them into the strong box. And then when I put them into the strong box, I get 1, maybe 2, if I'm lucky, 3 echoes. And those 3 are still trash. So what do I do with it? I funnel it back into the strong box. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible system. On top of the fact that you need not only level up experience, but you then need tuners. So when you level up an Echo, it's not just like, oh, okay, I finally got the stats and it is what it is. It's bad or it's good. You then need to get the tuners in order for you to see what those stats are. So it's a multi-layered step process that cost way too much wave plates, way too much resin. So when you're looking at progression, I think it is hard to rate this, because Genshin Impact's progression, on the other hand, Lee lines are obviously available there, and they're very cheap. They're 20 resin. Talent domains are locked to days of the week, which is absolutely horrendous, and that slows it down. And collecting the flowers is pretty bad, and there's not a lot of shops for 95.9% of the flowers, but their artifact system is just genuinely better. So I feel like if you're weighing all of these out, I do think you still have to give the edge to Wuthering Waves, but I think Genshin Impact is, I don't even know if I want to say Genshin Impact is better than Star Rail. I think Honkai Star Rail has a better progression system as well, I think, for sure. And then I would go Genshin Impact. And ZZZ, I don't know about. I can't sit here and lie to you. So I'll put a question mark there. Maybe Zenless Zone Zero is a little bit better than Genshin Impact's. But yeah, I think Wuthering Waves is there, but they have a big you know what, man? I'm putting Star Rail. No. I'm putting Star Rail. I'm putting Honkai Star Rail over there, and then I'm putting Wuthering Waves. I think Honkai Star Rail's progression system is very fair. I don't think it costs a lot to get to 90, but all those games cost a lot to get to the max level, where it's 80 and 90, whatever one it is. So I was actually just watching Legions talk about that. It's like it takes forever. Like it's a lot of materials, which excuse me, I get that. But all those games are like that. Wuthering Waves is 80 to 90 is ridiculous as well. But I do think Honkai Star Rail probably has the most fair and best progression. So yeah, I think that's going to be my list. I'm curious to see what he says.
I'm talking about strictly the exploration in the world. I'm not talking about like the hidden lore. Oh my god, do you know that Hanu has a?
Oh yeah, no, I don't care. No.
Oh my god, do you know
going to progression? Okay.
Yeah, about all right. Give it safe. What art? What art? Progress. Good. All right, good. Let's go. Progress.
Good. How about the character RVs and game model?
What art? What art? What art are you talking about? All right, give it safe. What art? Shut the fuck up. We're talking about art. I think Honkai Starbucks did the best in terms of progression. The traces they provide is pretty good. There's no like gold traces. It's just green, blue, and purple. The Echoes of War, you have like a billion Echoes of War, so it's never a shortage. The little gold balls, unless you're a goddamn Giga Whale, you're probably never gonna run into a shortage.
Honkai Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, Genshin Impact, Zenless Zone Zero. Okay, I'm cool with that.
Infinite time sync is like relics, and relics cost 40 stamina. So I think Honkai Starbucks clears here. Now,
yeah.
The reason why Wuthering...
Also, I didn't even think about that. Honkai Star Rail, the resin bank. Honkai Star Rail has a resin bank of 2,400. Of 20 or something like that, like 2,200, 2,400, whatever it is. Bro, they take it like by a landslide. Like it's not even close. It's not even close type beat.
Waves, in my
Without
opinion,
a doubt.
Clears, and it's not even close. Both Genshin and Zenless is because of this one thing. Even though UL70 changes nothing, even though the tester feels they give like a shit tier rewards, even says level 50, all that kind of stuff, there's one thing that they don't have, which is you can share relics and weapons for your endgame content.
That's very big too.
That's very big. Single set
that is very big. I didn't even think of that.
For all 3 sites. That is diabolical. You're never going to be able to do that for any of the other 3 games.
Yeah.
The only reason why Wuthering is still lower than Honkai Starbucks is because of the progression and the amount you get is just very low.
For sure.
Going level 50, 60, 70. So the progression, bang for buck, is not high enough. But because you can literally share your gears, which is pretty much the end game of this game, with everyone, is very, very good, right? And I think the biggest bottleneck for Wuthering, you probably won't even feel it if you can share the gears. It's not that bad. Like, once you raise up your one good set, right? Then you just have to care about the unit levels and traces. So that is going to be, for me. Genshin and Zenless, I personally rank Genshin higher than Zenless. Because I feel that Zenless, the bottleneck is... Okay, first of all, the relics...
I don't know anything about Zenless.
Second of all, the notorious hunt. Unless I'm not mistaken, it is always at 1, right? Oh, Genshin has time getter farming. Okay, you know what, chat? You know what, to be fair? I honestly know nothing about Genshin progression. But just look at it. You know what? It's been 5 months. I have a lot of level 80 units. Looks pretty good. Maybe stop it. Okay, maybe stop it. Yeah, time getter progression. That kind of stuff.
I get that.
The reason why I think I don't feel that good for Zenless is because this notorious hunting is basically equivalent to Echoes of War. You only get 3 times a week for the rest of your life. Unless they change it at the very, very last level. Zelda at 300 stamina, true.
Okay, I think we've established that. Gacha system, I think Gacha system is pretty easy. I think that one is clear cut and dry. I'm not going to lie to you. The Gacha system is going to be Wuthering Waves. You have guaranteed weapons. You cannot lose fate. You don't need fate points for weapons. You actually have 2 standard banners that you can... well, excuse me, let me rephrase that. You have the weapon standard banner that you could focus, and then you have the standard banner you could focus for the characters, but that's only a one-time focus. But still, you have the focus for the weapon. You have the normal standard banner. Again, only 80 pulls for the weapon, so nothing really too bad here. You can also buy constellations of the S-rank characters, the 5 stars in the shop. The Gacha system is easily the best, and every Gacha game should take from this. Now, granted, the only problem with this is that when you have that and the importance of the weapons, the importance of the importance of the 5-star weapons goes up, and the importance of the 4-star weapons go down. There is maybe like 2 or 3 standout weapons that are 4 stars in Wuthering Waves, and I think 1 or 2 standout 3-star weapons, and everything else is pretty bad. So that caused a little bit of problem, but still, the Gacha system is the best. Honkai Star is going to be second. You only need 1 fate point for the light cone. The light cones are literally separated in 2 different ones. 50-50. You do have the standard at the 300 pulls. You can get that. I'm going to go Zenless Zone Zero and then Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact easily has the worst Gacha system of any Gacha game I've ever played, period. The weapon banner is the biggest scam. The double fate points is really bad. The Chronicled Wish was a scam. That shit is gone. If you didn't get what you wanted, you've lost your Primo Gems. You've lost your progress. And Yeah, I feel like if they were to separate the weapon banners, that might help a little bit, but I think 2 fate points is just too brutal, man. I think if they actually separated the fate points to the point where it's only 1, they would even make more money. People would say, "Wow, why would you say that?" Because a lot of people don't roll on the weapon banner. But what happens is if you separate the fate points and you make it just 1 fate point per weapon, you will have people incentivizing to roll on it more because it is literally just a normal banner now. So, with that being said, that is how I feel about the gacha system. Let's see what Hoyo Show says.
Gacha system. So these are the two opposite spectrums, yeah?
Very surprised that the Hoyo Show said Wuthering Waves is the best gacha system. You know, I guess it does show that sometimes people could be objective, for sure.
Two opposite spectrums.
Yeah.
Like legit from all the way up to all the way down.
For sure.
I like Honkai, but I like Zenless more. Just a little bit more. Statistically
Really?
speaking,
That's interesting.
Zenless Zone Zero has a higher percentage on your W engines.
That I didn't know
It's
that.
1% odds. So statistically, you are more likely to get your Zenless Zone Zero engine a little bit more. And statistically speaking, as the rank 1 Zenless Zone free play, I have not lost a single 50-50. Statistically speaking for myself,
I gotta get a,
I like
clip
Zenless
of
Zone
that. Hold on,
right?
let me see.
I think they're both pretty much around the same.
That
Like,
little bro
around the same.
lying,
It's
go ahead.
For Honkai Starbucks, my girlfriend Firefly, she completely destroyed my bank account. And where there's not being pulling her weight, right? So just personal reasons, right? But I think Wuthering and Genshin, these two, they are objectively probably the only, if there's one objective thing in this entire list, is this gacha system right here. Wuthering Wave have the best gacha system bar none.
Yeah,
all the games. It
for
is not
sure.
even close. 100% guaranteed on your weapons, lesser pulls required, free idle tools if you pull enough, if selector at 80 summons, all the so this is not even close. Genshin, it makes me want to kill myself in game.
True.
Alright, cool, done.
Yeah,
Not
no.
too much to be said here. Power creep, or rather, like the lead, like how is power creep managed?
Yeah, I was about to say, what are we considering? The most power creep, the least power creep? That's an interesting one, because if you're going with the game that power creeps the hardest, it's Star Rail. Star Rail absolutely power creeps the hardest. Genshin Impact, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, just started power creeping. I don't in a very noticeable way. So yeah. I think like let's see.
By the companies, yeah, by the games. I think we can't really say power creep that much for Zenless and Wawa, so they are like disqualified because it's too early. It's legit too early to tell. Okay, you know what? We can cook a little bit because Jingxi was really.
No, I hate that take, bro. I hate that take so much, man. Oh, didn't power creep anyone. She's just strong. That's like saying Nuvolette power crept Ayato, right? Nuvolette didn't power creep Ayato. Ayato was a solid DPS. Well, I get what he's saying. Let it play. Let's see what happens. But I just don't like this take.
Really fucking good. Okay, Zenless is too early. You know what? I'll disqualify Zenless. Zenless is DQ'd. I think Zenless is way too early. I want to see how Jane Doe and Chief is literally our first fucking banner. So Zenless is disqualified. Okay, Genshin, Honkai Starbucks, and Wuthering.
Honkai Star Rail power creeps the most. I'm standing on that. If we're going who power creeps the hardest, HSR, Genshin Impact, and then Wuthering Waves, ZZZ, I don't know. But Honkai Star Rail legitimately will drop a character that is trash. Drop a character that will revive them 5-6 months later. Then after that, they go back in the garbage can. Jingliu is power crept right now. Sealy is power crept. I mean, obviously, Sealy is a 1.0 character. But they do power creep pretty hard. They dropped Acheron. And then after that, I think Acheron is getting power crept by Firefly. So, hey, you know, Genshin Impact is not as bad as Star Rail. And I don't like this argument that Jinxie power crept like Havoc Rover or Gion and things like that. Because, first of all, Jinxie has a different role. Jinxie is straight. I should make this its own separate video, and I think I'm going to. So I'm not going to rant too long. Jinxie is straight up just DPS. Jinxie cannot be used for anything else. She is used for single target DPS. That is where she excels. She does the most single target DPS. Gion does very good single target DPS, but he's also there for CC and crowd control. So he's very good in areas where you are having a bunch of enemies there before you go into the single target spot in TOA. Havoc Rover is a very good hot swap unit with someone like Encore or Chang Li. 70k was insane. It was nuclear damage. And then Jinxie came out and people started hitting 150, 200k. But you also have to keep in mind, in order to get Jinxie to the point to hit 200k is a lot longer. So, well, I don't want to say a lot longer, but it takes in more work as opposed to just building a bunch of VR on your Havoc Rover and your other characters and just pumping out their burst. So they're different roles as DPS, in my opinion. And again, Genshin Impact didn't power creep that hard. The really first, in my mind, real noticeable power creeps are Arlecchino to Hu Tao and Yumiya. Arlecchino works in more than just vapes. She is universally a better character. She could work with Monopyro. She could work with Electro. She could work with Dendro. She could literally work with anything. And she has no downtime. The other Pyro DPSs all only relied on vapes, right? And then even look at Xiangling. Xiangling's still the best unit. Probably the second best Pyro DPS in the game. Benny is still good. Zincho is still amazing. Barbara. People are going to get mad to say Barbara, but Barbara's still a good unit. Fischl. Kuki Shinobu. You know, Toma's now starting to get into some shine a little bit. But I don't think Genshin Impact power creeps in the way that people pretend it does. I think they might phase out certain elements, like, for example, Cryo Freeze. But that's just, I don't believe that is power creep. I believe the meta is just shifting in a different direction to a different reaction. When something like Cryo cannot interact with Dendro as a whole, is that power creep? I personally don't think power creep. When I look at power creep, I think of something like Arlecchino to a Hu Tao situation. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing the mark. I don't know. That could be a bad take. I think your mom's a bad take. Let's go. Let's continue.
Like between these three, the fact that units like Burnett, Xiangling, Fischl, like this it's been 3.5 years and they're still at the top. I think Genshin kind of did it pretty good. Although Nervulet was like, oh my fucking god, this guy is fucking crazy.
Yeah, Nervulet was goated with the sauce, and so was Arlecchino. But again, who else did you have? You had Tartaglia, who only has one good team, and Ayato, who his ease of use is really not that great. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Not his ease of use. He's just mid. Comparing to using Tartaglia, Tartaglia is not easier to use, but Tartaglia can put out more damage numbers consistently than Ayato. I think with Ayato you have to put in even more work. Nervulet is just super brain dead, and requires Farina to really bring his damage to the next level. Now you could obviously still out DPS them without Farina, but that helps quite a bit. So yeah.
Kazuha, this guy is fucking crazy. But like for accounts such as myself, who literally do not have access to these units, I don't feel that the game is too difficult. Oh, Kazuha is 1.6. Holy shit. Okay, that's my issue. It's my issue.
Good job.
Yeah, for a game that's been out for 4 years, the fact that 1.6 unit, a 1.6 unit is still like at this, I think Genshin did the best. But okay, and also that's also true. The reason why you guys don't feel this is also because Genshin's endgame is also non-existent. So it's like they are kind of like tied hand in hand. Genshin has no power creep because there's nothing to power creep. Because all you have is Spiral Abyss and the image. So, you know, for a game that maybe that's why it's real that Genshin has no endgame, right? So because they have quote unquote no endgame, power creep basically does not exist in Genshin, which is excellent. Right? So if people that don't like power creep,
that's honestly a really good take. That's a very good take.
Highest pulling value for me is the Gyat and the Honkai Starbucks and Wuthering Waves. I am just a little bit more concerned for Wuthering Waves, but once again, this is a little bit too early to tell, right? Because it has only been like 2 patches. Jingshi's power level to be released in version 1.1. We've
already discussed this before.
Quite a bit of a shock.
Oh, we just said it 5 seconds ago.
Theoretically speaking, the brand new 5-star theoretically might just straight up invalidate Calchero's existence. So, and it's only been like 2 patches, right?
I think invalidating Calchero's existence though was also due to the fact that he is just not easy to use. Trying to get 3 full fortes off of Calchero's ultimate is nearly impossible. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe the damage numbers at power creeping, right? I mean, Calchero's getting power crept. I don't know if I would use her power crept yet because I don't know if the damage numbers and the damage multipliers are going to be higher than Calchero's. But I will say that Yinlin synergizes with him perfectly, so he will obviously be doing more damage because he's going to have Resonant Separation buffs from Yinlin. But I feel like his ease of use is probably going to be also so much easier than Calchero's to the point where that really assists it. If Calchero, if his ultimate was a lot easier to use, then I think it'd be a little bit different. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Honkai Starbucks, we have very clear. Okay, and Honkai Starbucks is not immune to this, right? Because units that were crazy after the release of Super Break, for the same amount of stamina invested in relics on average, because crit relics is a lot more difficult, right? Firefly and Super Break is just, it is like, why would you even bother about crit teams anymore if you can just run Super Break? Unless they introduce another mechanic, kind of counter it, right? And then with Akron, you do the 5 billion damage every single turn because you have like infinite ultimates. So Honkai Starbucks definitely always have power creep. And I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, the health pool for every single enemy in Memory of Chaos has increased quite drastically per rotation. I'm not even talking about is per rotation. The health pools in Mod 12, it goes up by a lot. Go back and look at the health pool of a first season, the first MOC 10, compared to now. It is, okay, maybe not even MOC 10. The first MOC 12 to our current MOC 12, it is, I'm pretty sure they have like doubled, if not more than doubled, which is kind of crazy, by the way. Because if you think about it, your units can't change that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, your relics can only go up to this point where it's like maxed out. Like, what are you going to do with like 80% crit rate and 200% crit damage? There's not much you can do. So, it ends up being, you are now bounded by your characters to scale your team if you want to clear faster, right? So, both of these games, I think they have pretty glaring power creep issues. It's just that Honkai Starbucks, this trend, is a lot more visual because you can visually see
Yeah,
the
well,
health
it's a lot more
promote health
consistent
over the past
because
couple
it's been out
and
longer.
the amount of insane mechanics that they've introduced with Aircraft's Ultimate and Fire's Super Break. I don't know what the fuck kind of mechanics they're going to introduce in the future. Fei Xiao, who knows what she does, right? So, yep. For that reason,
I don't know
think
what it
both
is,
are pretty bad. But I'll just give Wuthering Waves the benefit of the doubt because it is a very new game.
Yeah.
And Honkai Starbucks
Okay.
is a pretty, old game. It's kind of established.
Sounds good.
So I'll give you.
VA.
Okay, right, cool. All right, done.
Uh, I go HSR, man. I think VA. I think honestly, I think Star Rail might have the better voice acting. I think Genshin Impact has great voice acting. I'd probably go ZZZ, and then the thing is, Wuthering Waves has some pretty good spots of VA, but you know, it's not what it should be yet. So yeah, VA
Voice
I think
actors.
is that.
Okay, you know what? To be completely fair, I'll only talk about Ian. Because all of the story, the majority of the voice acting that we've played so far is on Ian, right? So I'll only talk about Ian. I think, is there a shit JP voice? There's no shit JP voice. Yeah,
I don't think there's anything too crazy here, like anything controversial.
Honki's
Yeah. Oh, he's putting Zenless Zone at the top? Okay.
And Genshin. Okay,
I think
because
HSR
of
goes
timeout, I'm just
first.
gonna do this.
Yeah,
If
sounds
they-
good. Sounds good to me. Okay, let's go to welfare, quality of life, and dailies.
A little bit
See
bigger.
we'll see what he's feeling here.
I think that's pretty fair. I think that's very, very fair. And
What
quality
did I
of clear dailies. Do you feel frustration playing this game? Do we get enough pools as it's free to play? Right? Income, welfare, quality of life.
Okay, Wuthering Waves easily. So we go Wuthering Waves. It's gonna go HSR. It's gonna go Zenless Zone Zero, and it's gonna go Genshin Impact. Wuthering Waves and Zenless Zone Zero both came out within about maybe 2 to 3 months ago, and they have already listened to more criticism and honest feedback than Genshin Impact has listened to in the past 4 years. And Honkai Star Rail listens a lot as well. Honkai Star Rail definitely listens. Their developers are in touch with the game. They're in touch with the audience. They know what the people want, and they deliver what the people want. So I think that this is very fair. I mean, immediately people were talking about underground map, Resin Banks in Wuthering Waves, double tacit fields, etc. I still don't think that fixed the echo problem, but they've immediately implemented a lot of these things. They've also brought back the event that they talked about, like, you know, the roguelike mode. I don't believe they were going to bring that back. They brought something, well, since you loved it so much, here is again. Now we're going to get a season 3. Star Rail just listens, man. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They give you a 10 pull every month for free. Also, by the way, Wuthering Waves is extremely giving. You still get free 5-star. We're getting a free 5-star. That's going to be potentially Power Creeping Cultura. Well, they're going to be Power Creeping Cultura. It is what it is. We're getting a free 5-star second half. It doesn't get more free than that. On top of the other free 5-stars we already had, on top of the bunch of free pulls that we've had, they're very, very, very giving. They're giving us another free 5 standard and 5 regular wish as well, so 10 in total. Zenless Zone Zero, I think, is very good. I think they are giving. I haven't grinded it enough myself throughout the regular short to tell you how many pulls you get. I really don't know. But I do know that developers are listening, and they are making quality of life changes. They just dropped a whole blog post about what they're going to be changing, and they've been very, very, very transparent about everything. So off rip, they're already doing better than Genshin Impact, so there's nothing new there, and Genshin Impact just doesn't listen. I truly believe they just don't care. Like, I just don't think, if they're not getting sued and their bottom dollar's not being affected, I really don't think they care about anything. So yeah.
I think that's pretty fair. I think that's very, very fair. And I don't think we need to talk about it that much. There's not a lot of discussion to be had over here. So
yeah, for sure.
Honkai, Starbucks, and Zenless needs more time to cook.
Yeah, I think it's just
yep.
Okay. Oh, I think we're on the same page here.
Honkai, Starbucks, emergency. Okay, actually, you know what? We might need to split dailies into a separate portion. I think it's kind of okay. Okay, I'll put quality of life with dailies. The welfare is like freebies.
I think the quality of life with dailies, I don't think it changed that much. I think that Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero's dailies, you just go get a cup of coffee and that is it. Wuthering Waves is very quick, 1, 2, 3, and actually increasing it and making it even quicker, which is very good. Honkai Star Rails is pretty solid as well, and Genshin now has that new encounter point system. I'm not going to lie to you, I don't think the daily system even really deserves its own category because I think it's still silly. I think at the end of the day, no matter any of these 4 games, it doesn't take no more than 10 minutes. So to me, it's like, you know, Genshin's probably going to be in last. Not going to lie to you, Genshin's dailies are annoying, even before this system. But yeah, I think quality of life / dailies, I think it's still a good list. So
what is welfare? The free shit that the devs gives you. The free shit where the devs listen. Zenless Zone Zero might be lower than Genshin in terms of freebies. I mean, it's a little bit too early to cook up welfare for Zenless because it's literally a 1-month old game. So obviously, Genshin Impact over the course of 4 years will give you way more shit than a 1-month old game, Sarah. So
you'd be surprised.
You know what? Disqualified. ZZZ disqualified. Because it's just too short. Right? Cool. Okay. Quality of lives. and Dailies.
Let's see.
We
I
didn't
don't realize how long we've been live
5 seconds
before.
Dailies on Playboy, no? I really like Zenless Zone Zero's Dailies. You literally finish it in almost a single
Yeah,
mission.
it's very
I like
easy.
the Dailies. I like the coffee. It's very fast. You don't have
Let's
to...
see
there's
community.
no
What are you talking
overwork.
about community-wise?
Point, before we finish up this entire video, the community of Honkai Star...
They're all toxic. They're all horrible. They're all horrendous. They all hate me. They're all just annoying. They argue with each other. I don't get it. I will never understand it. I've been nothing but positive about Wuthering Waves for pretty much about 95.2% of my videos. I made 2 videos criticizing the game, and people tell me to go do a front flip into a car on Roblox. So you know what I'm saying? I think they are kind of weird. I think all of the communities are bad. Well, no, let me rephrase that. Excuse me, I think all of the communities have a very vocal minority that are extremely toxic and not fun. I think Genshin Impact is going to be the most toxic one. But you then have the people who think that they are better than everyone in the world because they play Wuthering Waves and they don't play Hoyoverse games. So I don't know what he's going with the community here, so it's going to see what happens.
Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. Now, I do want to kind of make a point here. The community most people are aware of will be the vocal minority. It is usually the vocal minority that garners the highest amount of attention. Millions of people...
Shara has the best community. I will say that. I think Shara does have the best community for sure. Without a doubt. I think Shara is the least drama-centric category. And they kind of just sit there and play their own game and don't really bother with anyone unless they're all hating on ZZZ because all 3 of them hated on ZZZ because they're weirdos. But I think Sora is probably the most calm.
People play a game, but probably only thousands say something on the internet. So this community is not representative of everyone. We are specifically talking about people who are making their presence known on the internet. Example, the Qingyuan mates, the Hoyo bots, the Kuro Shields, drama farmers, the boycott.
These
kind of loud minorities
for sure.
are what we're talking about. I would say that 90% of the community, they're probably just very normal people playing the game, going about their lives, and honestly could not be bothered, could not be asked to give a fuck about like internet drama and food. So these are, we're only talking about the local minority here. Right? I think fundamentally, and there it is, neutral chatter.
Genuinely cannot believe this shit.
Voting for Wuthering Community for last just because they got mad at you for your last Wuthering trailer reaction, even though that's how you react to everything. Neutrally speaking.
No, it's just, bro, I'm neutral. It's just that the Wuthering Waves community, they are a little bit too serious. The Wuthering Waves community are very serious people. It's like, it's the living embodiment of like Reddit, you know? It's like, oh, why you? Oh, I'll show you. It's like, they're just a little bit too serious. Doesn't make them a bad community. They're just way too serious. So we're just on different wavelengths, you know? So I'm good. I don't hate them. I don't hate any communities, actually. Okay, you know what? The best thing about this, the number of dramas incited within a community on
Genshin Impact is going to be one.
An average of 1 year. I'm just going to be talking about the year 2023 to 2024. I don't know what the fuck happened before that in Genshin. 2023 2024. Honkai Starbucks. We've got the Robin drama. We've got the Sparkle drama. We've got the Firefly and Taylor drama. Oh, Sparkle was a Nazi.
Killing cats. Inexcusable.
Mid-year drama. VA drama. Oh, you know what? I take it back. It's impossible. It's impossible to remember.
Yeah.
That is way too long. It's way too long.
Hear that voice crack?
Okay, you know what? In order to be completely neutral.
There's no way this man just pulled out a spin the wheel.
Alright, Wuthering Waves have the worst community. Insane, right? So Wuthering Waves is the worst community.
Wuthering Waves the worst, for sure. Wuthering the worst. Okay. No.
Followed by Honkai Starbucks.
No.
Alright, last one.
There's no way. No.
Oh, Genshin Impact has the best community. And there it is. So that's gonna be the neutral take. Genshin Impact has the absolute best community.
Yeah, I don't know about that, brother.
I'm gonna leave this one to you guys. Me personally, I like all communities. I like the sense of camaraderie. I like the sense
There's
of
no camaraderie at all.
I like the sense of where everyone can come together and share
Line
what
times
they've
two.
learned in the game.
The third
As
power.
we all enjoy a gacha game as one happy family. So I love all communities, right? Maybe some communities, they're a little bit more serious. Some communities are a little bit more goofy. Some communities are a little bit more sensitive. Some communities are a little bit, like, it doesn't necessarily make them a bad community. I'm not gonna write this here, so you're gonna have to take my word. These are my personal thoughts on the comparison of the big four. I'm not gonna give like a ranking of like which game is better and which game objectively as a whole, because you can see a lot of different games have areas where they excel at. For me personally, from my perspective, right? So it depends what kind of game you like. Feel free to go ahead and explore and try them out. If you don't like it, feel free to move on. Time is way too short.
Yeah, man. I think it was over a pretty good conversation. I think it was very good. I think if we're going off of the list, objectively, Wuthering Waves is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, wait. I think if you're going off of this, I think Starro, you would make Starro the best game. I think it's a cool conversation, man. I think it's cool. I think my personal favorites overall would probably be Wuthering Waves, Genshin, Starro, and then Zenless Zone Zero. Although there's something about ZZZ that I do enjoy. I just like the casualness of it. When I kind of want to turn my brain off a little bit, just press spacebar and get annoyed. I'm swapping out in between characters. I think it was a good video. I think Hoyo Shill over here did a pretty good job. Why is he always neutral? I'm not watching that. You know, go watch. You know, you leave the link in the video description. You can go watch that part. Yeah, I think it was cool. It was a good conversation. Let me know what you think. Do you think there's any categories that are missing? I really don't think there's any categories missing. I actually believe everything is pretty spot on in terms of the categories. Community, quality of life, welfare. I think Dailies is stupid. VA, power creep, gacha system, progression, world design, exploration, endgame, music, story, lore, gameplay, character design. So yeah, I think overall it's a pretty solid list. I think that we really did cover everything. So yeah, I think I think that's it. I think that is it. I think we are done. With that being said, let me know what you think. Why do you hate me? Why do you think my opinion is wrong? And I love you, and your mother loves me more. Mwah. I'll see you in the next one.